We have a very, very cool matchup here because the only leader these two players share is Henselt.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of brands, almost everybody being able to have a brand available, but in this situation, it's just going to be, because JJ does like to bring Northern Realms to tournaments, and in this situation, sacrifice Skellige to bring Northern Realms and monsters, whereas Atzikov and Shaggy decided to just skip monsters altogether. Brand had a pretty strong representation here. As we go into a Monsters versus Nilfgaard matchup, just like you and Panda just did for the show match, to celebrate the Monsters versus Nilfgaard faction battle that is coming up tomorrow, I believe, with improvements to faction battles. So stay tuned for that. Nice little leak there from Berja on his birthday. Of course, they're going to give Berja a little bit of a leak on his birthday. So looking forward to that as we get to see, we got to see some of the worst play between you and Panda, and now we get to see some of the best play between JJ and Atzikov.
Oh boy. Fortunately, no crazy storm tactics here. Super JJ does have a relatively decent hand. Triple Slizzard alongside. Well, those triple Slizzards may seem like a bit of a brick, but with the consumption, they can be easily mitigated. And there is the Artifact Compression, which does have good utility in this matchup. Like I've said, Impair Brigades tend to reach really high value. The open pass by Atzikov here, though, not wanting anything to do with the monster matchup in the, when you lose the coin flip, maybe something I should have done. But hey, I'm not the #1 pro ladder player, am I?
It's true. The #1 pro ladder player who is poised to get a championship under his belt here. Super JJ wouldn't mind it though. Wouldn't mind it. It is a prestigious club. Only 2 people part of that club right now in Shaggy and Freddy Babes. So we'll see another new name at the top of the ladder here as Super JJ decides how he wants to play this. And he's considering maybe Monster Nest perhaps for carryover in Barbagazi. It looks like that might be it.
Yep. Monster Nest into a 9 strength Barbagazi, which will translate 6 base strength to the next round, giving him a nice start, and will definitely make things difficult for Atzikov. As I've stated numerous times throughout this tournament, Spy Nilfgaard is a very powerful deck, but its one weakness is that because it is engine reliant, it does have a slow start. Once it gets the ball rolling. Let's go with that. It can generate a lot of power, but if if Super JJ passes at the right time, he could really pressure Atzikov, especially with this starting 6-point lead he has here. So very intrigued to see how this round 2 is going to play out and how Super JJ is going to react overall to this open pass.
I think it's really interesting. I feel like JJ can approach this matchup like, okay, well, the stuff that I'm targeting doesn't exist here. So what can I put in that place? Perhaps he puts the Imperial Enforcers in that place because he can Mandrake an Enforcer, he can muzzle an Enforcer. He has ways of dealing with the Enforcers, and the Enforcers do pose a threat in a long round. So he would be able to, if he's able to shut down the engine, which he absolutely can because he's playing a shutdown deck. That's the whole point. He can compress, he can muzzle, and he can Mandrake with the Wispa's Tribute, pulling that organic card. So he will never have to deal with Enforcers if he doesn't want to. How important will that be if Atzikov isn't able to get an Enforcer to stick or really have any sort of... I mean, Enforcers do trigger on deploy now, so at least you get that value from the Enforcer. So shutting it down isn't quite the same as shutting down Neckers. Definitely not saying that it is. But if you want to at least put your biggest threat in a long round, that's probably it.
Muzzle, Artifact Compression, and Wispa's Tribute into Mandrake are very solid ways for Super JJ to deal with the engine of this deck and may enable him to pressure Atzikov deep into this round because if Nilfgaard Spy does not have the engines, in a long prolonged round they lose a lot of power, but because that open pass happened, Atzikov has not played any single engine here.
Also, the Vran Warriors can be set up to eat the emissaries, so there's less spies on the board.
But that also enables the Vic of Medics as well, so
it's true.
It's a difficult thing to... I think because Atzikov does not run Sweers in this list, he's definitely going to be utilizing the Enforcers to try to break through these weak Neckers as early on as possible. Like, you want to get those Enforcers in and start killing the Neckers so the other ones are spawned out of the deck, and you try to defeat that. Because right now Neckers are very weak. Before, once consumption starts, they'll be getting beefier and beefier. But this is the moment in which they're the most vulnerable to the Imperial Enforcers. Necker is the key. It is the heart of the Consume archetype, which is why it is so vulnerable to specific tech. But if it goes unanswered, it is extremely powerful. This deck has such amazing proactive potential, and Asikov definitely has to try his best to shut that down. And it'll be interesting to see because his best tool to deny that late game is actually Azir, which is nowhere near as efficient as Suir's here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Wispa's Tribute, I mean, we're talking about the Enforcers, but the Wispa's Tribute basically completely deletes the Brigades as well. Removes the buffs completely and then destroys it. So, banishes it, to be more specific. So, so there is that as well. I think JJ has a lot of tools at his disposal here for this long round. He's probably a little bit more well-equipped than he may think.
I have no time.
Not you personally.
Double emissary.
Than one may think.
Falling behind.
And we see Asikov being patient and not going for the other Imperial Brigade and actually getting the Infiltrator out there to proc the Enforcer once more and get that kill on the Necker. Those are 2 Neckers down. It's important to keep track. He's played 1 Necker Warrior, as we can see there, and 2 Neckers down, which means that he has a total of 2 Neckers left in his deck right now.
And those are the ones that were afforded by the Necker Warrior.
Yep. So we're going to try to keep track of them this time around. We're going to try to step up our game here. So yeah, basically, this is very important. We're going to go for Blizzard into Necker Warrior now to add 2 extra copies. So now that went up from 2 to 4.
I got this one.
2 to 4. He has 4
It seemed like there
Neckers
was an
in his
absolute
deck.
endless supply in the last time we saw Super JJ in that mirror match against Game King, where
I like this
JJ
approach.
closed it out for 200. He had 206 points there.
Another one goes down.
Trying to deplete the
third
reserves.
one, so it's going to leave 3. But there is still 1 more Necker Warrior available for Super JJ, and he's going to go for the Slizzard now to fish for it, because the earlier you get those Neckers in, the better. So definitely, we're 100% going to see a Slizzard into the last Necker Warrior in the deck.
I mean, one of the great things about Consume right now is that because Necker Warriors are 9, because Alzur's Double Cross, likely you can build a list very easily to use that. Alzur's Double Cross does pull it out. The Slizzard, an extra 3-point body and thinning and pulling out the Necker Warrior. It makes that the slow period of the setup of Consume much better.
This pass, I know I said 100%, but after I said that, I kind of like debated it in my mind a little bit. He can access that Necker Warrior in the next round, but this is probably his last opportunity to get that extra card out of Asikov. So I really like this pass. I take back what I said. This is definitely the better play, because the point gap difference between the two is only 3, and we see 3 engines on board. If Super JJ would have played that 3rd Necker Warrior now, he would have been in massive trouble, or at least he would not necessarily massive trouble, but he would have been going down 1 card for the next round,
Gonna
and that
deny
would have
the
been
Slizzard.
pretty devastating. I love this
Yep.
Vic of Aromatic. I love it. It denies this Lizard, and it makes it so that he has to draw the other one. This is such a good play. Such a good play by Asikov. If he does not draw that last Necker Warrior, JJ is in very big trouble here.
And you know, considering emissaries, putting the enforcers in his deck with the Necker Warrior, he's likely to see those enforcers. Nilfgaard gets those answers on a very, very regular basis.
that.
So it works on a number of levels there, denying the Slizzard, making sure that
Excellent play.
JJ does have to draw into it. He's going to draw the Forktail. Now, since the Slizzard was denied, it's possible that he decides to mulligan one of those, but he's going to just go ahead and take care of the Forktail. He's going to pick up the marching orders, which is looking at, I'm just going to double check to make sure.
As of
He's
right
got
now,
the Shadow. He already
I think
played the Shadow? Did he already play the Shadow? I am not looking at the right one. Adscott's going to get that engine started though, so now he's got a nice long round 3, which is what Nilfgaard needs.
Now, the key thing here is he still has an opportunity to get that Necker Warrior, and it is through Gels into Althor's Double Cross onto the Necker Warrior, as it is the strongest unit in his deck. The problem is, I'm not sure how many silvers he's used yet. That muzzle is very nice, denying one of the engines here. Let's see. Down goes the Imperial Enforcer, because Muzzle does convert the stolen unit into a spy. He does get one of the procs and stays ahead here, as it's going to be very, very interesting. He needs that Necker Warrior. Because him fishing for Neckers is very easy, as he does have a Slizzard right there.
I mean, seeing the muzzle get use out of, I mean, you want to get the best use out of muzzle here, and I think that denying an engine on a long round for Nilfgaard is absolutely imperative for Super JJ.
Indeed. The clock is ticking here. JJ really debating what to go for. I think we're going to see Slizzard into Necker. Oh, sorry, into Grand Warrior. Interesting.
Who do you think's in a more favorable position at this point? I think that the long round is favorable here, but I think that JJ is going to be able to. I mean, the consume has a surprising amount of points late in a round, regardless if it's short or long.
This Kahir is glorious, though. Kahir's going to bring out Emir. He's going to go Emir into Kalak. He's going to start fishing for those enforcers. If he's able to, if he's able to run through and develop these enforcers and ping down the Neckers, like Super JJ is very aware of this. So he's trying to. That's okay. So that's why he went for this Lizard into Grand Warrior. He wants to buff up the Necker, and he wants to. Basically have it so that it's strong enough so that it can withstand the pressure from the Imperial Enforcers. But because that Necker Warrior copied more copies of Imperial Enforcers, Azikov has a very, very nice situation here in which he can really pressure his opponent. And we do see, like I said, Gels into potentially Althor's Double Cross to pull that last Necker Warrior from the deck. But the big issue here is having that Necker stick. And with two Enforcers on board, and Kalak and Vic of Aromatic in hand, this is easier said than done. So this is a very intriguing point in this match. That Vic of Aromatic into Necker Warrior play to take the round was absolutely outstanding. But he goes Gels into he goes Gels into Brewis instead. All right.
So we saw how huge it was for JJ to get those extra engine pieces out in the semifinals matchup. Against Game King, he was able to just source, basically clear out the reserves for the Neckers. Had 3 engine pieces ticking, just constant source of points here.
Ooh,
and there's not, I mean, having 3 enforcers on the board, this is tough to immediately call here. There's so much point potential on both sides in this matchup right now.
Yep, it all comes out. I like this. You want to target that. You want to target the Grand Warrior. If you're able to eliminate the Grand Warrior, you stop the Consume engine. And if you stop the Consume engine, you stop the Neckers from buffing every 2 turns. And that goes a long way. Azikov is using these Enforcers really well. This is the first time I've seen Necker Warrior, Vic of Aromatic utilized in this way in this matchup. It's actually quite fascinating. Like I honestly didn't even think about this approach. It's just, this is why this man is so good. Like, yeah. This is outstanding. He has triple Imperial Enforcers in round 3 because of that. That's actually hilarious.
I mean, it rivals Super JJ's Longship into Mahaka Marauder for one of the best cross-faction card plays that we've seen today.
Yep. I love the Vic of Aromatic. I love the
being able to get 3 Enforcers out in a long round 3 is a nightmare.
Arrakis Queen goes down.
Praise the meatball.
Praise the meatball indeed. And consumes double Emissary and the Slizzard to tie the score, as both players have 5 cards left and both stand at 28. But oh man, Azikov has a lot of power in hand. The thing is that Artifact Compression will be able to deny most likely the Joaquim pull, as it will be the most high statted unit, and Artifact Compression will deny all that strength and turn it down to 2. We also see Tribute Whispers. He hasn't played Mandrake yet,
Got
right?
the Mandrake on call still.
Yeah, he has the Mandrake, which can also deny something like an Imperial Brigade. So it's going to be very interesting to see, because he has a lot of cards to react and to deny him. Those techs are also, pretty decent in this matchup. And here comes the Imperial Brigade, which will be considerably weaker because of that Arrakis Queen play. Eating those 2 Emissary Spies. Well, you don't want to necessarily do that as much in round 1, especially early on in the game, because you're kind of like enabling the Vic of Aromatic. Like I said, in round 2, this is great. This is outstanding.
Azikov's pinging at the Neckers just to make them just a little bit less favorable for the Consume, because you're banking that strength and you're cycling the Neckers to the ones that they're already in the deck. If they're weaker, it makes it just a worse play. Here comes the marching orders, and we're going to see what gets pulled here. It might just be another Vran Warrior if there is one available for JJ, because I think the Neckers are too big. They are far surpassing any other base strength unit at this point. Plus all the Slizzards, I believe, were played.
I mean, I think damaging the Neckers has no implications in reality because, you know, when they go down, they're going to bring the other one out still. I think Azikov is not focusing on cycling at this point.
Oh, it's the fork tail, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, nice. And this is one of the strongest swings. Look at this.
This is pretty big. This is where it begins. This is where it begins to mount and be a real threat here to Azikov.
But he has 4 engines. 4 engines with, at the very least, 3 spy procs there. We see Rainfarn. We see, and he has not played Iris. Well, yeah, he has not played Iris yet, correct?
Nope.
Azikov has not played Iris yet, so that Rainfarn is into Iris. So Azikov has a lot of power left in his hand as well, but he has a lot of catching up here. He is down 24 points, and this Infiltrator is going to be worth a total of 18. It's going to proc the 4 engines here.
That artifact compression, though, I think might just be, it might be telling the story here.
Well, that artifact compression right now is only representing 8 points on that brigade. Even though that brigade can get buffed twice, it's not really looking too amazing.
Between that and Mandrake together, I think it's going to deny.
Yeah, it is going to deny stuff. Especially, like, I think he has to preserve it for the Joaquin, and because he has last say. He definitely will be able to target whatever he wants. That may probably be his last play. We're going to see Slizzard and then his 2 reactive plays left for last, as he can most definitely just deny 2 powerful sources here. But Azikov, I think Azikov is really fishing for that Menno. He can try to thin this deck as much as possible, or he may go for the Vilgefortz now. I think you can preserve Vilgefortz for the very end to have the highest chance of pulling that Menno from your deck and hitting. But then again, the Forktail got eaten to deny that, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Unless he's able to pull another one.
I mean, at least he has good targets for Villefort in the 1 strength K here, or the Vikavara Medic. Yeah, Rainfarn into, I mean, he has to reliably be able to kill Iris, which he will be able to, of course, because of the Impure Enforcers. Here comes the Seer. Is there any denying that he can be doing here? Yeah, he is going to do that.
He's going to deny the Slizzard! Oh!
Deny the Slizzard. And he's still able to source a Necker with the Slizzard, I believe. So the Slizzard isn't dead or anything, but that is a fair amount of point.
It depends on how many Neckers he has left, because unless I'm mistaken, unless I missed it, I've only seen 2 Necker Warriors being played in this match, and not 3. So the amount of Neckers left are not as, like, I don't know how many are left, but they can't be many, unless I missed that 3rd Necker Warrior, which could be possible, but I don't think I've seen it. That Azir was so good! So good. Azikov is on fire in this tournament, man.
All the 3 Enforcers, that is just kind of coming back to that Vikavaro Necker Warrior steal there.
This is intense.
Really making for an interesting long round 3 here. Both players still have a lot of potential. Here comes the Slizzard.
Yep.
Only a Necker to grab here. Now the last two plays here are not consume effects. The Vran is going to continue ticking up the engines here, but even if that is the last Necker, it's fine in this situation.
Azikov has to hope that one of the 2, either Kahir or Vikavara Medic, does not get buffed by this Iris. Oh, this is
and
beautiful.
He doesn't even
taking
have
advantage
to
of the Vran Warrior and getting to get extra damages with his procs. Here we go. Iris is going to proc for 25 points and does not hit neither of the 2 ones, which means that Vilgefortz will be able to get maximum value here, unless he opts to go for a offensive Vilgefortz, which could also very well happen. An offensive Vilgefortz on that. I think we're seeing an offensive Vilgefortz. What am I talking about? That's ridiculous. That's 35 points. That's so much.
Azikov is making Nilfgaard look really good right now with the triple Enforcer round 3. Taking down...
Oh, this is intense, man.
Potentially taking down one of the most devastating decks to go up against in a long round 3, or even a short round 3, or really a round 3 at all. Not really tapping out Consume in round 2 is tough. But Azikov went in fully equipped to do so.
We're going to see, what will we go for? Will we go for the regular Vilgefortz, or will he burn that? Oh, there he goes. Yes. Here we go, and...
It's going to be the Forktail. Now, is there a cycle? I don't think there's a cycle available here for the Neckers.
We'll see. We'll see. Honestly, at this point, we'll see, because I am not 100% sure. I got to be honest here. I'm not sure. Down goes the Mandrake, 17 points.
17 points to get it done.
I don't think we saw it.
There is going to be 14 points at the very least just from the engine.
He didn't have any more Neckers.
There's nothing to cycle. It's not going to be enough.
Woo! Wow!
What a way to get the final started right here.
Wow, what a game! Oh my god!
That
was
matchup was fun to
insane.
watch for sure.
Damn! I knew. I just wasn't 100%. I've messed up so many times in the past with Neckers and Necker Warriors that I just wasn't 100% sure that he didn't play it. But he did not. He was not able to play that third Necker Warrior, which means he had no more Neckers left in his deck. And Azikov knew that very well. And that offensive Villefort won him the game. What a match! Highlight for me: Veko Moromedic into Necker Warrior. Outstanding.
Honestly, but also the Asir denial of the Slizzard target was also paramount. Because he wasn't able to get the Necker Warrior to get the extra Neckers. Because if he was able to, if JJ was able to cycle those Neckers, it would have been a vast disparity in points and a completely different outcome. Azikov has played this matchup before, and it shows. That was very, very well played by Azikov. He definitely adapted to the situation. He made great use of his opponent's cards. The cross-faction play has been outstanding today.
Wow. I'm just very impressed by Azikov's performance in this tournament. It's been one hell of a thing to witness. Here we go. Round 2, ladies and gentlemen. We have Scoia'tael versus Northern Realms. Henselt, a very clear pick to make when going second, as we've stated numerous times throughout this tournament. Henselt has a very powerful leader ability, which enables him to search for all copies of a bronze card on the board. Of course, this bronze card is limited to Kid Win and Machine and certain other tags. But in this kind of deck, obviously, it's completely geared around it. So Henselt has a very, very powerful swing. And because of the crazy amount of tempo that Henselt can pull, if you do go second, you're put into a position in which he may not be able to catch up with you. And because he went first, that means he would eventually have to go down 2 cards to win round 1. And that's something that Henselt could really punish on top of that. So definitely the standard pick. And one of the most proficient tournament decks, in my opinion, especially in this Conquest format, and with this coin flip system implemented as well. Knowing when to bring in Henselt is very, very strong. And we see Ethne in JJ's hand with triple Agitator, Barclay Elves, Poly, so Barclay Elves will not put, won't pull Poly randomly. Egg-Laced, which definitely has a lot of utility in this matchup, being able to potentially utilize Althor's Double Cross, Commander's Horn, or I don't know why you would want to, but Winch as well. You know, Egg-Laced is representing a lot of points too. Both players have really solid hands. Yeah,
we've seen Egg-Laced not get a lot of use in every matchup. Even JJ deciding to mulligan it in a matchup where you absolutely wouldn't get any value in it. But then we also seen Egg-Laced do a lot of really cool things, like grab the Restore to resurrect the muzzled Longship in the semifinals here. JJ's hand is pretty good. He's going to go ahead and just use the muzzle for the first thing he can, just to get a better foothold here on the matchup. Taking that battering ram also denies Henselt from Nanica putting it back in, making it rain battering rams, as Azikov has done earlier in this tournament. And he doesn't get the battering ram here, but he does get the Ballista, which still helps the cause a little bit. Not the strongest play to play a Ballista with no crew support or anything really to shelf the points for, but you'll take it. It's just a slow start here for these decks because the real fireworks happen later on in this game.
Yeah, the Ballista was not the play that generated him the most points here, but the reason he went for it is because he wants to stack up those units for Henselt later down the line. Winch spawns these machines, and it does not include the copies in the deck, which means that Henselt can become even more powerful, and thus it's a play that is definitely worth going considering the late game. As Azikov is currently 19 points behind, but because he's going second, he is in a decent position as of now. He does have the ability to play the Siege Master to heal the Ballista right here and also proc it, even though he doesn't have the best targets, unfortunately. But he may still go for it here.
Yeah, I mean, setting up the crewman for later crewman, or setting up the crewman now for later machine play, I should say, is totally fine. You get extra points from the healing effect, plus you get to create a shelf for further Ballista. No, I think that it's probably just a fine play right now. Keeping it low, I mean, Azikov is able to, he is on the red coin here, so he can afford a little bit slower play right now and a little bit more setup.
Taking his time, you know, making low tempo plays, but as you said, setting up the crewmen, setting up the machines, setting up the potential Henselt too. Neneke, we've seen, is a very powerful resource to utilize with Hensold, as it can return up to 3 units from your graveyard to your deck. So machines that you played in earlier rounds can be put back there and enable a very, very strong Hensold later down the line. The problem with this approach is that it's also a very disruptible strategy, especially when you're facing against a deck like Ethne, and especially considering the techs that Super JJ is running, like for example Artifact Compression amongst others. He can potentially shut that down, as he can recycle those cards and disable the Hensold later down the line. So I'm very intrigued to see how the late game in this one is gonna play out. And we see there, aye aye sir, the good old Jebaited, the Dun banner out of the deck, which is very good news for Azekov. Getting those units out of the deck, not only because of the points, but also because of the thinning as well.
One of Twitch's favorite cards there, the Dun banner.
Yeah.
I can see it now. I think it's interesting also, JJ running Yorveth Meditation, which has proven to be an extremely strong card in the meta right now. It didn't drive at any point in the semis, so at least we'll get to see it played in this match here. I'm going to try to keep track of when it's going to be at its best value, but likely it's usually around 3 play, just because of the sheer point potential that's available, unless JJ has to make up a lot of points very quickly and has a favorable board state to do so. We probably won't see it for a while, but we will definitely see it. It's definitely, it's a thinking man's gold card. You have to really try to get the best value possible, but it's all about the board state and how he'll best be able to use it here. As the decoy is going to come down from Barkley L, is probably going to be grabbing another Agitator. Poly is in hand, so that is not a concern.
No Agitator.
I think the Mohawk Volunteers, perhaps, as well.
He's
not
going to be a skirmisher.
Volunteers. My mistake.
Because one of them went down earlier.
Yeah.
Actually turn 1 through the battering ram, so he's going to pull a skirmisher, which is also very solid, because this pull is better as it empowers Poly in the late game. Azekov really concentrated there, not bobbing his head around as we've seen him prior. Maybe it's not time for music, as really debating what to do here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him get into the zone before, and the way I called it out was it's Azekov just putting himself into a position where he's trying to get himself kind of in his head as if he is playing at home, because when he plays at home, he's a monster, of course. He's at the top of the pro ladder for a long time, so trying to create that environment there, and I think that's kind of what he was feeling when he was in the quarterfinals against Hanachan. He was kind of getting into that zone.
Yeah. I'll bring over Shani here. Very interesting, going for Shani round 1. Also, definitely setting up that Commander's Horn. Knowing that his opponent is not running Geralt with Igni enables these kind of plays, as otherwise you wouldn't really be encouraged to set up 3 6s in the back row and then Commander's Horn them, as that would be an insane Geralt Igni. But because players are aware of each other's deck lists, you can adjust your gameplay and your positioning to that.
Absolutely, as JJ is looking for the next play here. Still a very close game, very close round 1. We already had a hell of a game 1 here already. This series is already shaping up to not disappoint whatsoever. Going to see another skirmisher come down, for sure. No Farseers, no Dragoons. JJ hasn't really, it's funny, he's kind of a slave to the draws on this one. We haven't really seen that engine really take off. It's almost as if I forget that he has Farseers at times.
He never draws them.
Well, it's like you put 3 in, you see it all the time, you put 2 in, you never see it. It's like that's Gwent for you.
In any of these games, he has just not drawn them. He does have the ability to react to this Commander's Horn with his Igles, and it will be 9 points stronger, as he does have to set up in the Seas row himself. And is not vulnerable to Geralt Igni either, even though we could potentially see a Hensold onto the Siege Master to reactivate the Ballistas and not only get a huge swing, but also line up that back row for Geralt Igni as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. He plays Ethne before that to decoy Barclay again.
I mean, it's a totally reasonable play. Decoy is such a strong card in Scoia'tael. You can use it on Polly, you can use it on Barclay. If you're using it twice in one round on Barclay is, I mean, when you have Commander's Horn available for Ethna, like you have so many ways to get a huge amount of points. One of the reasons why Scoia'tael is so strong right now. There are just so many ways to do it, as well as Super JJ having some of his opponent's spells on hand with Aglace, and of course the sheer potential of Yorveth Meditation as well. It looks like JJ is looking to go the distance on this one as he's starting to mount a pretty serious lead. But Headstalt into Siegemaster is such a good Headstalt target because you can put the bookend of crewman on a machine, and you can get the double crewman proc on all all 3 pulls here. And here comes Headstalt right now. That's going to be what we're going to see here. Although he's not setting up. Well, you can just set the crewman up on the other side with the
Attack!
So he's going to set up. A nice shot. He's going to get a lot of value out of this.
Yep, and he's lining up that back row as well in case JJ wants to Commander's Horn. This is the reason why this deck is so strong when going second. Look at this, 22-point lead. Commander's Horn does not do it. Aglace does. And the cool thing here is that Aglace actually also blocks Igni as well, because Aglace will be 9 strength, so you can just play it and it will be stronger than the others. I definitely expect an Aglace into Commander's Horn here. It enables him to get up ahead again, and he still has very powerful plays. He's going to be able to play double Commander's Horn without having to resort to Ethne with that.
Yeah.
Yep, here we go.
This is a great pull. 29-point Aglace. Currently, Yorveth Meditation is sitting at 16 points maximum with the 6 and the 10 dueling. JJ still has a lot of ways to secure points here.
JJ has another 20-point play in hand, any Yorveth Meditation, while Azekov is running out of resources here. If he does go out with Double Cross into Thaler, he will be giving, how much of a lead are we talking about here? That's 22 points. 22 points, so Igni will not be enough to do it in one play, but he can definitely take it back in 2. He's gonna go for, but because he's played Aglace, he can play Summoning Circle now.
Get
and
another
go for
Siege
another
Master.
one. Oh boy.
This creates a pretty favorable Igni situation. He would have to put all the pings on Aglace to do it though.
Yeah. Or maybe he just goes for the full value.
Just go for the points.
Go for the full value.
Making it rain, showering JJ's points, showering JJ's board with arrows.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, he knows he hasn't played Commander's Horn, so if he went for the Igni setup, JJ would have been able to disrupt it anyways. This is a much better play by Azekov, as he's 14 points ahead. Well, JJ still has a lot of power, but he's trying to create a scenario in which JJ does not have enough of a lead, so they can actually Thaler into Igni and take the round on even. With this, unfortunately, it's still not the case. He's missing out by 2 points, as 21 would tie, and so he needs 1 extra point, and Igni onto that. But wait. He did buff Aglace, right? Oh, no.
The Skirmisher is going to be...
the Skirmisher, okay.
The Skirmisher is
protected
here. He's going to take you're going to take it anyway.
Okay.
Yorveth still sitting at 16-point top end if Yorveth duels the 6 into the 10, 6-point unit into a 10-point unit. That is the most, I think that is the most value that Yorveth can get right now, which is enough.
16 points.
There is a card, and there is a card for Polly as well.
Yeah, as he has burned that Skirmisher. So both cards in JJ's hand are playable. And Yorveth is going to go down here and going to provide him with a 16-point swing, as you mentioned.
JJ's probably just making sure that he has... I mean, of course, when you train for this tournament, you probably go through a lot of outcomes on Yorveth Meditation.
The question is, do you play Neneke here just to push him a little bit deeper, or... Because he's definitely focused on... Oh, no, you didn't take into account the armor, I think. With the armor, because he attacked the unit with the 2 armor, and I think that enabled them to exchange more.
I'm not sure about that. I think he may have lost. Well, he did. He targeted something with armor. I'm going to leave that up to. The experts. I think he may have lost a point there, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. I also was not taking the armor into account, so it's a hard card. It's a there's a lot going on with
the math reaches another level, and I honestly don't remember exactly how many points he was behind, but I'm pretty sure JJ knows very well what he's doing, and I'm gonna, believe that was the best exchange.
I mean, they are in the hot seat, right? They are playing for the big money, for the championship title here for Gwent Open number 3.
He does go with an NK play here, and actually opts to not just for the 10 points, which is gonna force Polly out of him.
This is such a good thing to force out of the hand of the Scoia'tael player.
Especially when you haven't played Thaler yet. So, because this Althor's double cross is going to make it very, very difficult.
This means that JJ is going to take the round.
Yep. I don't know what Azikov could get out of this Thaler, but the fact that it's 15 points makes it very difficult. I think he may just go with this for the sake of thinning, because if he's not going to want to have a dead Althor's double cross and a dead Thaler for the incoming rounds. And he will still be able to preserve one card over JJ for round 2, which JJ can just take back with the open pass, but it does mean that they will go into round 3 with an equal card state. As Thaler comes out of here at 15 strength, and he takes one of the battering rams, and the battering ram is most definitely not enough, as he's forced to pass here. And JJ actually manages to take round 1 versus Henselt with that constant pressure.
Boy, did he spend a lot, though. He bought that round for sure. We saw Commander's Horn, a Glazed Commander's Horn. Ethna was spent, double decoy on Barkley. Polly was played. Basically, so many resources. So JJ's draw, he gets the Dragoon Farseer, and now he's got Elven Scout Farseer, but he's in the driver's seat here. He's just going to go ahead and pass, force Adzikov to play a card. Battering ram, no support, none required. And we're going to go into a nice short round 3 here for game 2 of the finals. We see if we're going to be having a tie, or if Adzikov's going to be going up 2-0.
Oh, that Ronvid is a very
Dragoon
nice draw.
Farseer in a 3-card round. It's not the worst thing in the world.
I would.
Yorveth Outlaw is, or sorry, Isengrim. Villain Treadmirth is quite a pickup.
Oh, that's risky though, because you do have Ronvid, but do you? Yeah, he goes for it. He goes for it.
You're going to go for it, but Ronvid is going to catch it. Ronvid's going to catch it, right?
Yeah, Ronvid's going to catch
Nothing's
it.
going to get buffed. I mean, JJ is not going to pick a large unit now. I think, well, it's going to be, I mean, what's the decision here? You want to know what the Elven Scout gives you. You want to maybe get that variant.
You don't want to give out that Ronvid information early. That's why he's preserving it there, because he may. Oh boy.
I wonder what Adzikov was putting JJ on when he played Villain Treadmirth. He made that snap decision there, because I mean, we've seen the lists here. I mean, Isengrim Outlaw was probably JJ's best draw in that situation.
Ronvid is a brick. Ronvid is actually a brick here.
Not looking good. He's got to play. Oh, is he going to just? I mean, what's the difference?
He can discard it and it will come back. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, the difference is, oh, he would come back.
Yeah,
well, the difference is JJ catches
point.
the Scorch, obviously.
Yeah.
That is the difference.
He discards Ronvid because it will proc at the end of the turn, but he won't be able, like, unless every single one of those units is way too big. I just don't see how no, this is just
we can't. We're going to see in just a second.
That Elven Scout wins him regardless. That Elven Scout wins him regardless.
He's got it. Yeah.
He's got it. He's got it. That Bork worked against.
That's a great pickup too. 12 points, sweet and low.
Excellent performance by JJ, being able to defeat Henselt on the red coin and equaling the score 1-1. Very good game so far.
Finals are not disappointing, my friends. This has been 2 very tight games. We've got to see a little bit of everything already. Nilfgaard, Monsters, Northern Realms, and Scoia'tael tied at 1. We're going to go into game 3 here. Still lots to see. JJ getting a win with Scoia'tael, not really that surprising. Adzikov getting a win with Emir, also not surprising. You could safely say that both players had their strongest decks have secured their win, and now they need to work a little bit backwards here. Henselt for both players still on the line. King Bran, Siri Nova for Adzikov, and finally a anti-consume with no consume in JJ's Arrakis Queen, aka the Meatball.
Long live the Meatball. I think we can definitely expect a Bran Henselt matchup here, as it is JJ's turn to. Oh no! Okay, Henselt Mirror instead. Interesting.
Both players want peace. Both players are going to fight for it. Now the lists have there's some subtle differences here. As far as the golds. JJ does like Muzzle. Of course, he does have that anti-consume text in Muzzle, and whereas Adzikov is running Shawnee. But then when we take a look at everything else, when you line it up, there are a couple things here. Adzikov is running Commander's Horn, Alzur's Double Cross, and Summoning Circle, whereas, well, of course, Taller Ronvid, Nanika, and Summoning Circle are the common silvers. Alzur's Double Cross and Scorch on JJ's side, Commander's Horn. Oh, Alzur's Double Cross is also common. So it's really just between Commander's Horn and Scorch, both having a very high potential for silvers. And then from there on, it's just There's the reinforced ballista on JJ's side is the choice, whereas the standard ballista for the standard ballista for Adzakov's side. Everything else should be pretty close. Stun banner, winch, siege master, and battering ram.
Now, it's very important to note that because I believe the bronze difference is going to be very key in this matchup, as I think Ballista is way more threatening in the mirror match than Reinforced Ballista. Reinforced Ballista generates a more standard type of value, as it can just proc for 3 times, as Ballista, in a matchup in which most machines are very much like aligned when it comes to base strength, can get insane amounts of value. And we're gonna see a Taller responds with another Taller and picking up Ronvid, not getting bricked by double done banner there, which is a very scary thing to happen in this matchup.
Oh, in the Summoning Circle spy game.
Summoning Circle.
We've all seen it before here.
But Azakov has no answer for this. But there's no Igni there. In Super JJ's hand, so we saw this happen in the prior matchup. This means that JJ is now in absolute control of this match. Sir comes out, getting him 12 points to kind of mitigate that last Thaler. And this is very interesting because now JJ is in the driver's seat. JJ dictates how long this round goes. And we will see an even card state round 3 in which JJ has the last say, which means a lot.
It means a lot in the mirror. In the mirror,
and that muscle is so strong in the mirror as well, because you're stealing units that you're going to use yourself too. So, looking good for JJ, but it's still way too early to tell. Because, like I said, ballistas are very powerful here.
You can steal a crewman. You can steal Ronvid even if you want. I mean, it's a low-value muzzle. Probably not recommended, but especially when you have your own Ronvid. You might as well just try to steal a Siege Master. But I mean, you also can deny some potential with Henselt if you want to steal one of the units that is likely going to get shuffled in. Again, both decks have the similar strategy. Generate machines, shuffle them back in with Nanika, get final play, use Villain Tretmirth to burn things down. But both players are running Villain Tretmirth. Now, Villain Tretmirth can't burn himself, but he can burn another Villain Tretmirth.
Exactly. In this particular case, Villefort is better used in a shorter round, as even though it is technically like 13 points because of the armor, so it's rather difficult to take down. Machines deal a lot of damage, and with the proper crewman setup, battering rams can potentially take down Bork in 3 turns. But of course, we're talking about a very specific scenario here, so regardless of like all the deployability, it's definitely, I think, harder for Azakov to take down Villefort because he's running Ballista instead of Reinforced Ballista. Just very, very intrigued to see how this matchup plays out and exactly how far JJ is willing to push. Now that the card state is even, he can push as much as he wants, and that gives him a lot of benefit going into this.
I just want to correct something that I said earlier about the gold choices. The differences between the golds was not Shani, it is actually Geralt Igni on Adzakov's side, whereas Muzzle is on JJ's side.
Both of these players have performed extremely well in this tournament. JJ with his excellent tech, while Azakov has just had excellent games overall and defeated very powerful opponents in Hannah-chan and Shaggy. So just a clash of titans in this Gwent Open, honestly, and a great start to Gwent for 2018, in my opinion. As we see a Wench generating a Ballista there. I like him going for the Ballista. It's definitely, like I said, very, very strong here, and it's, in my opinion, Azakov's key to potentially overcoming JJ in the mirror, while JJ has a lot of options. And the fact that he is in control here gives him the upper hand in my, it's actually kind of a fact, right? But
opinion and fact.
Yeah, that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
He's going to try to create a nice shelf of points here for future ballistas. The more fours lined up, the better. Usually want maybe a little bit higher strength unit shelf, so you can get even more ballista value in the long term. At least now maybe he can bring the 8s down to the 6s, which will eventually meet the 4s. So there is opportunity here. I mean, the ballista, it's a subtle difference between reinforcing a ballista and a normal ballista, whereas JJ's been taking a more control route with his decks. The ballista itself just is able to provide so much value. Ballista is one of the best machines that Northern Realms has to offer. Azakov taking ballista and battering ram, which have just such high potential, whereas the reinforced ballista kind of tops out a little bit at 13 points.
JJ really debating here. Again, the difference between these two players is that JJ doesn't necessarily need to overcome Azakov's strength. He can just continue to keep on pushing. But if Azakov is not able to catch up, he loses one card. And in the mirror match, if you go down into round 3, especially when both decks are so similar, if you go down in round 3, one card, that's pretty much a death sentence right there, especially considering you also have to play your card first. So it's as if your opponent has like double last say, which is massive. So definitely something that Azakov has to avoid at all costs here, as we see a Reinforced Ballista being dropped right beside Ronvid and Siege Master to eliminate that the opposing Siege Master on Azakov's side.
It's interesting. I'm wondering what JJ wants. What is the ideal hand for JJ going into round 3? He has Villain Trentmirth, but he understands that Azakov also runs Villain Trentmirth. He's got a situation where Villain Trentmirth in this round, while it's not great that the 13s are dispersed on either side of the board, he does get an extra 13 out of the deal.
Yeah.
And if he wants to use it in this round to push, he could do that. Shawnee is also a card that is likely what you want to take into round 3, especially when and Nanika as well, especially when you're considering the maximum potential of Hensel. But these are all things that Azakov can do as well. So the short rounds for both players are very similar. So where does JJ think his highest odds to win are as far as what he can carry into round 3? I'm thinking it's probably Nanika Shawnee. It's the Villain Trentmirth, I think, is the thing that could go either way.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I am not a psychic and I haven't played this mirror match as much as these players have, but I do believe that we may see Villain Trentmirth being played this round to get a 23-point play potentially, as it will burn all the 3 Talors. But because Azakov has one more, it will still be 23 points, and it may put JJ in a very, very solid position in which Azakov has trouble catching up or has to waste a very valuable resource. This Villain Trentmirth also makes Commander's Horn, have to be played in the back row as well. But it's scary because obviously the good thing is that Talor is blocking the Scorch in a way that JJ cannot line up more units to be vulnerable to it, as he cannot really damage his own. So I definitely do think we're going to see a setup from JJ into Neneke, perhaps Shawnee, and into a Hensel, because if he has last say, he has an easier time pulling that off. And also, it's very important to note that while machines do have the ability to damage units and take them down, a lot of times they need several turns to do so, especially if you're running the Ballista and the Battering Ram. So going back into what I said, Ballista is extremely powerful in this matchup, but if you're looking at a short round, Reinforced Ballista is where it's at, because if you do have double crewmen, they can instantly kill something like a Ballista or a Battering Ram, denying the opposing Hensel in the process.
Yeah, denying the opposing Hensel, whoever has the better Hensel here, I mean, it's all about maximizing the value of your cards. If you can get more value out of your bronzes, silvers, golds, and leaders that your opponent does, especially in the mirror, generally in Gwent, but especially in the mirror, that's the best way you can do it. I mean, it's in a best of 3 game, it depends on what comes down when, and I think that really both players are just planning to have the best possible round 3, while just keeping in mind what's actually available, what options are actually available here in this round. Azakov is just trying to stay in this round, trying to stay ahead. Super JJ being able to have even cards on the pass with the potential to possibly get ahead is very tempting, but that could come at a cost that could cost him in round 3. So it's just very, very careful deliberation as to what is an expendable card and what isn't. I think that Siege Masters and Winch definitely are 2 cards that are likely going to be played very soon, as they are probably lower commitment cards, as the Siege Master is being selected at this time for Super JJ. Going to be healing up that 5 strength Reinforced Ballista, just to get a couple more shots in.
We're going to see Commander's Horn being played by Azakov in the back row soon, as those Talors are blocking it from potentially Villain Trentmirth capitalizing on that. And, playing Commander's Horn in a short round can become rather difficult, as we do see the Siege Master drop down, and I think he's going to answer with his own Siege Master here. Right now, this is a game of dumping your lowest value resource every turn, trying to preserve your most powerful plays for last, and it's all about how far JJ is willing to push, and how much he messes with Azakov's late game. In a very short late game, though, having last say in such a reactive deck like this is very, very valuable.
That ballista that was, that Siege Master reactivating the ballista's deploy effect was absolutely huge, and it's just. I think that the value that Azakov is able to squeeze out of the ballista is just always going to be more than what JJ's top end for reinforced ballistae. I believe is the plural I'm looking for here.
See, there's
Villefort Match. The decision is finally made here. That extra 13 points on Azakov's side is going to make this a 23-point play. If it ticks down, Super JJ is looking to go the distance here, as it is going to go off in this situation, as Azakov can't get out of this round. He just has to kind of watch it and plan accordingly. Now, Azakov is now playing around the Scorch that Super JJ is running in his deck. Doesn't have it in hand, but Azakov needs to keep that in mind, as right now Villain Trentonworth would be on that Scorch when the 13s go. But then, of course, Azakov has his own Villain Trentonworth as well.
This makes this Commander's Horn very awkward here. Because if he were to have that, Azakov would really go down. But I think he can't really afford to do something else. Because if he plays his own Villefort Match, Super JJ can just really push for the 2-0 here, because you can set up. You can't really. It's hard. Yeah, like if you go for Commander's Horde here, you can't really play Villefort Match, because once these 13s go down, your own Villefort Match is going to burn your entire back row for 40 points in a negative aspect, which is the last thing Azakov wants. This is a very tight late game here.
Now, I'm not real. Maybe I could potentially be missing something, but if I was looking at for like the risk that Azakov is taking here, if JJ was holding Scorch, unless I missed a Scorch earlier in the game, if JJ was holding Scorch, Villain Trentonworth bringing the 13s would then open up all those 10s to being scorched exactly. Right now.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah. So it's like if it would be 40 points down, so it's like it would be too devastating. He would instantly be 2-0. So I think it's a risk he has to take at this point, because he has his back against the wall. What I'm intrigued about is that Azakov's own Villefort Match, like if Super JJ utilizes Neneke in the third round, it's most likely going to be the target and would make that a 20-point gold play, which is pretty decent. At least it's not 10, you know? That's the problem. But I'm just not sure exactly how far JJ is willing to push. Because right now, Neneke doesn't really... I mean, Neneke does represent good value returning the battering ram, for example, as he does have one on board that was, I believe, generated with Winch. So he can actually push here. He can play Neneke, return the other battering ram, and we would be looking at a very powerful Henselt. And Super JJ could actually push for the 2-0 here. So, and that would be very massive, because again, going back to what I said, he can't really play. If he plays his Villefort Match, we're gonna see JJ push.
Oh, this is so risky.
He's going for it. Oh boy.
This is so risky.
JJ smells blood. Like, he's looking at that, and this is extremely, extremely threatening, because Azakov's side of the board is stronger. And that goes down to the difference we mentioned earlier: Scorch versus Commander's Horn, reactive versus proactive. And Azakov is being punished for having the proactive card here, as he does return the battering rams with Neneke right there.
Again.
Yep, he's going in. JJ's going for the 2-0.
It's going to be a lot of fire and brimstone in this particular match right now. There's going to be... we have two Villain Trentonworths ticking at the exact same time, the 13s and the 10s.
He's got him.
The 10s are I mean, Alzur's Double Cross, I don't believe. I think the highest thing that can be pulled, well, he can pull Neneke with Alzur's Double Cross, which would be, wait, sorry, I'm looking at, no, it does pull Neneke on Azakov's side, so that would create a 12, which would protect all the 10s. So there is that much. We do have that much.
This is very, very intense.
Super JJ is forcing some really important cards out of Azakov's hand, which is really the whole plan to begin with.
Yeah, but I think he's actually planning to 2-0 him here. he's
going to evaluate.
Yeah, he's definitely going to evaluate. Like, it depends on what he does. We see Shani onto the Siege Master, unfortunately.
This is going to be pretty huge.
Yeah, unfortunately for that. Yeah, and he's not... Oh! Ho, ho! What?
Now...
Okay, he's blocking. Okay, I understand this.
Yeah.
He's blocking that. Oh, that's so clever. He's hitting the Taller with the Ballista to make sure that his back row doesn't get scorched. Oh, that's
He's playing around Scorch at this point, which is exactly what I was thinking of there.
Yep. he has
JJ
to
does
do
not
that.
have a Brick Scorch in his hand, however.
Oh, that changes things.
The insurance is that his Villain Tried Mirth will take care of the 12 strength taller anyway. But man, a little bit of a sacrifice there.
That's super key. The difference is Azrakov has sacrificed Shani. Well, JJ has not. JJ still smells blood. JJ is still going for it. Or not? Oh, he's going for Hensel. Ooh.
Ooh, this is just so many points right here.
Ooh.
He will be able to get Ronvid on this one as
Oh,
well.
man.
There's not much Azrakov can do here. Oh, God. The triple. Oh, my God.
Aye, sir.
Aye, sir.
I forgot
Barely.
about it. In route.
Barely making it up. Making
Wait.
it rain machine. Some of the Hensel play that we have seen. Now we're going to see Azakov's answer as he's going to have to play something here. Villain Treadmirth looking at that 12-point taller.
Wait, what? Does he only
And
have
Nanika's on
wait.
Alzur's double cross, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, there's really only so much Azakov can do here. Super JJ pushes with Shani. I think that's it.
Okay, 12 points, drops him down to 74. Azrakov needs a 21-point play here. Is that, I don't think that's, is that possible?
Men of Kedwin,
He does have
It is
only
possible, it is
two
possible, it is
ballista
possible.
here.
It is possible, it's most definitely possible. Yeah, he's got it. Okay, he's back in it. He is back in it. We're gonna see a pass from JJ here. He cannot overcome this. He's gonna lose 12 points from that Villefort. Oh man, this is intense. This is intense. that
So many
ballista
resources.
ping,
Yeah.
that ballista ping changed everything. But it's still looking rough because we have an Althor's double cross versus a Shani.
Yeah, going
I
into
don't like
round
those
3,
odds.
you definitely want to take Shani in this trade-off here. The Alzur's double cross is looking at Nanika, which is not so great when Henfeld has been spent. It's not, 12 points is not going to be enough to actually rival the strength of Shani. Odzakov is going to be looking at the draw and looking at the potential of mulliganing into something. You've got a
Althor's
batting ram
double
on the draw.
cross.
And JJ with his own Alzur's double cross, which is looking at a reinforced ballista, I believe.
And we're gonna see a
I think
mulligan
he might
here.
just go ahead and just be okay with that one. So what he
He
is
just
able
doesn't
to
have
do.
any cards. He doesn't have any better cards, and he's going first, despite being able to overcome that 2-0 with that key ballista, picking the Towler. That's just not enough. JJ has too strong of a late game, and that Neneke just represents. Oh, okay, this is his last.
Interesting choice
this is
here.
this is his last shot.
He's going to
but-
protect himself against a huge surge of points here, but I don't think JJ's ever going to be. I don't think JJ's going to be ahead. He's just making
Yeah,
sure.
he can't, especially because he went first. It becomes extremely difficult. He just has to hope that JJ goes crazier, but there's no way JJ goes for his strongest play now. And there's no, he would need, he would actually need a ridiculous play to get the Dun banner out. We will be talking about a 34 strength play here from JJ to enable that. So yeah, this is definitely gonna go for JJ. What an excellent match, but by both players, but JJ definitely taking control. And the fact that he had the driver's seat in that round 2 was definitely the key here.
I mean, it's not over till it's over. JJ has to make the decision here.
There's just no way he can overcome this. Like, there's no way he can generate so many points that Dun banner actually becomes relevant. And even if that were to happen.
I know what I'm doing when I describe something.
Azakov with his last shot here. Alzur's double
just
cross
needs 7
alone.
points. He's 8 points.
Gonna get a 9
Wait,
point
he didn't
reinforced
round
ballista
break.
here.
What is his strongest unit? It's a ballista, right? Yeah, he's got him. He does,
Ooh,
he's got him.
That's a close one.
GG.
Another close
GG.
one. Man, that
Outstanding
mirror
game.
was intense.
That was great.
I felt like I was in the role of more of a viewer there because I am a huge fan of Northern Realms and Henselt in general. I mean, I've played a fair amount of Northern Realms, but that mirror was absolutely intense. The variations between each deck was very subtle, and the lines to victory were very similar. Both players running Villain Treadmirth, Adzakov playing around Scorch there, as the Scorch would have definitely, JJ would have definitely had a chance to punish. If Adzakov hadn't played like that, but wasn't really what JJ was holding. There was so much happening there. That batting ram play with Hensel dropping 5 batting rams in total onto the board in that matchup. Now JJ is going to be taking his consume list, and he's going to have to break through either King Bran or Henselt. Adzakov is going to have to make something happen here with King Bran or Henselt. match point for Super JJ here in the finals of Gwent Open number 3. Both
Here
of
we
these
go.
players we will see at Challenger, but for now, they're playing for a hefty piece of the prize pool, and of course, a little bit of glory as well.
Always.
Always for the
Glories
glory.
is always fantastic. We see double mulligan there for done banners by Azakov, hovering over the battering ram as well, and getting a ballista in the process. Now this is a very, very interesting matchup. I believe Henselt is slightly favored here, or very much favored because of the double Scorch lineup that Azakov is running in both Geralt, Igni, and Villefort Match. You can definitely line up the big beefy units later down the line and try to react. And the fact that he's going second here with Henselt enables him to do that better, as Super JJ has to find a way to get the most out of this proactive strategy. The cool thing, looking at Azakov's Henselt list, because he doesn't have Scorch, Geraltine is an immediate Scorch effect, but Villefort Match can, you can see it coming. So he can, the consumed player can definitely disrupt that, like disable the multiple Scorch by eating the other units and kind of distributing the strength as much as possible. Though ballistas are very good at lining things up, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out as we see a Ronbid lead by Azakov, which is probably going to be followed up by some battering rams.
I mean, the truth about JJ's list is that he's still going to be able to do a lot of consume things. Even though his list is a little bit more tech towards destroying consume in the mirror, he is still able to do a lot of the devastating things that consume is able to do. Build a hefty reserve of Neckers. Oh, look at that. Perfect. He's already starting to deplete that reserve, but build a reserve of Neckers and, of course, cycle them cleanly with Vran and Forktail. Numerous consume effects between those two cards, those two aforementioned cards, and, of course, the Slizzard on top of it. And, the Necker army will be able to get a lot of work done. Slizzard now pulling the Necker Warrior. So we are going to see everything come together here for JJ. And JJ is going to have to use his tech cards to the best of his ability to take out Henselt on the red coin, which is a tough thing to do. It's possible that he was debating the open pass at one point. It took him a long time to decide to actually play that Necker, but it's difficult to take Henselt on in really any long round. So giving Henselt the driver's seat is very risky. And there's still a lot of potential here. Azakov is going to do his best to see if he can wear down the reserves, but there's just so many easy ways here for JJ to get the Necker Warriors out. Vran's going to eat this one, Slizzard's going to pull out that last one, and then the ritual is complete.
Yep. Now it's important to note that Azakov has been able to pull not one but two battering rams out of the winches, which means that with Neneke support, Henselt can be extremely powerful onto that battering ram in the late game. Even though JJ does have tools to stop this, he is running Mandrake in his deck, and that Mandrake can't be fished through Wispa's Tribute. So we could see him preserve that card to the very end to deny Henselt in the late game by banishing away the battering ram, as it will debuff it, weaken it by 6, thus banishing it regardless of the armor after the Shani Resurrection. So very interested to see just when he opts to use that Wispas. I think he should preserve it for the late game though, personally, or at least because at this point he knows that Henselt onto battering ram is not really a threat, as well. It's not nearly as much as a threat as he has one of the battering rams in hand and has played it onto the board. So this kind of tells that Azakov may be inclined to work for that late game, but he does have the answer for it.
So just so we're keeping track, there are 6 Neckers in JJ's deck. 2 have been pulled out of his 3 ofs due to Azakov's pings. So there are 6 remaining in the deck at this moment. As Azakov, this is so good. This is so good.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I mean, we'll have to see if it goes down like this, but the potential, Henselt's potential with the Necker Warrior putting 2 battering rams into the deck, plus 3 battering rams that Neneke can put back into the deck, which means that there will be... Oh my god.
That's terrifying.
That is... The potential here is now we're keeping track of the Neckers in JJ's deck, but we're going to have to keep track of the battering rams in Azakov's deck. The cross-faction play in this series has been so entertaining.
Yeah. 4 battering rams.
There are 4 battering rams in the deck, 3 on the board. 7 battering rams could potentially
Hashtag 100-point Henselt, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God.
I just want to see it. Like, I don't even. It's not
exactly.
even about who wins. I just want to see. Azakov is going to be the winner in my heart if he's able to pull 6 battering rams out of Henselt at some point in this game.
Oh, interesting. You have to go for the Master Nest onto the Arrakis Behemoth.
Oh yeah, it helps him win this round.
Yeah, a play that caused me a little bit of PTSD, as Panda was able to do that as well, and I wasn't able to kill it because of that extra 1 strength. But I think now JJ has to hold on to that Wispus tribute for dear life. He has to hold on to it for the late game. If he doesn't answer this, he could actually out-tempo the Necker deck in the late game, which would be absurd.
Did both of these battering rams come out of winches? Just to refresh my memory.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I missed something, I saw him mulligan away one of the battering rams and draw into a ballista. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he had 2 winches and he played them.
So 1 was played from hand and 2 were played from winches.
Yes.
Which means that there were 2 already in the deck, and then an additional 2 were put in by the Necker Warrior. Okay. Good to know. This
Actually, no, wait. Look at the graveyard. We only see 1 winch, so I think he had 2 battering rams, so he has 3.
Okay.
Because we only see 1 card in his graveyard, so I am wrong. He had 2 I just didn't see the other one, I guess, as he mulliganed it away.
Yeah, we just watch the Henselt mirror. Sometimes these things kind of blend together in the old memory.
Still gonna be very strong though. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's still really, really powerful. Yeah, only one winch.
Whatever number of battering rams that Henselt pulls, if that number exceeds 4,
we're in business.
It's already very entertaining as far as I'm concerned.
Especially considering Ronvid has been played in round 1, which means he's gonna have that crewman in every single round available to him, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, there's things that JJ could do, but value-wise probably won't do to prevent Ronvid from being there.
Down goes this lizard.
Gonna be grabbing that Varan Warrior from the marching orders.
Yeah, sorry, Varan Warrior. He's kind of a lizard, but yeah.
Continuing the train here that's gonna allow Arrakis Behemoth to reach the full potential here.
What's good about this Arrakis Behemoth for Azakov is the Ballista will have an easier time finding value, as he's going to have multiple targets to hit. Right now, JJ is not being able to get much of a lead on it, but at the same time, I think Azakov really wants to hold on to that Henselt for the late game. Or maybe
But even now, I mean, he will be able to, he still pulls 3 or 4 battering rams out now with Henselt if he needs to.
Yeah, it's still 3.
He's thinking about it, I think.
But he's holding on to it. I think you want to hold on to it a little bit more. You can afford a Ballista here and see if you can really preserve that for later. So Ballista is very decent value here. It's going to be able to hit those Arakas and the Lizard 2 times.
12 points?
Yep, for 12 points, which is decent. Puts him 7 points ahead.
Another close one right here. We're getting pretty deep into the round here. This is match point for Super JJ. We are in the finals of Gwent Open 3.
If JJ wins this, he takes the title, he defeats Azakov, and will be the Gwent Open 3 champion. But in a Conquest format, it's not over till it's over.
Absolutely not. The JJ does have to win with this deck, so this is the last deck that we'll see JJ play. Azakov still has Bran on reserve.
Down goes the Arrakis Queen, providing JJ with a very powerful swing, but you baited, baby.
Our favorite.
one of the MVPs of this event, the Dun Banner, coming out again because of that powerful proactive play by JJ. JJ not happy about it. Not sure if he miscalculated or if he just doesn't like seeing those guys, because I mean, obviously they're kind of triggering, you know. I mean, they trigger me a lot.
Did he miscalculate, or was there something else that occurred there?
I mean, let's count. Let's count. 21 points exactly. I think he may have miscalculated.
Arrakis Queen did get all 3 of her consumes.
Just think about it. He's 9 points ahead, right? After the Dun Banner came out. So that means before the Dun Banner came out, he was 21 points ahead. He exactly reached 21 points. Definitely a miscalculation by JJ, I believe, by 1 point there. He's not happy about that. That's very big for Azakov. That enables Azakov to keep on playing these Ballistas and hold on to Henselt, which is super important. Score is tied, and JJ, still has a couple of powerful plays in the Forktail and Gels. I do not expect him to play the Wispus Tribute this round, as he definitely wants to preserve that to deny a late game Henselt, unless Henselt goes down, of course, this round.
I do believe we're down to 4 Neckers left in JJ's deck at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he has 6, now he has 4, right? He's cycled through 2, so 4
Yep, he's
Neckers left.
cycled
And these
2.
Neckers are beefy.
Man,
They're
they're already
big.
at 16 points. We're in round 1. I mean, we're in a late round 1. But we are in round 1.
This is reaching a very intense point here. I think this pass is good. I like this pass.
I mean, it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's too much, and you don't you just don't want to waste Hensel like this, because even if you play Hensel, it'll only enable you to kind of like catch up, you know. So you don't want to do that. This pass for Masikov is the best decision he could make, and he needs to, in my opinion, he needs to fish for another battering ram, because that way he has one available through Shani. But what he can do is he can play the battering ram first from his hand. He can bait out the removal and then play Shani and resurrect another one and then follow that up with an NK. Like it's safer for him to have 2 battering rams at his disposal that way, because I believe JJ only has 1 answer to this combo in the Wispa's Tribute unto Mandrake. Other than that, unless he draws into Artifact Compression, which he has, so never mind. He has 2 answers. Oh man, JJ can shut this down. JJ can completely shut his Hensel down.
I mean, JJ's game from the very beginning has been about control, denial of strategy, even though it was very specific what he was targeting from the very beginning.
That's huge for him. Gonna drop the Siege Master here, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, round 3. If Super JJ wins this round, he will proclaim himself the Gwent Open 3 champion. Here we go. Althor's Double Cross, which pulls...
I think that's on. It's on one of the machines.
Yeah, it's on one of the battering rams, probably.
Or Taller. Taller wasn't played, was he?
That Althor's Double Cross is actually really good. Not good enough, though. Okay, wait.
I mean, he'll be able to bring a battering ram back with Shani if he needs to.
Yeah, but he has 2 answers.
He does have, yeah, JJ has 2 answers. I mean, that's really,
He has 2
that's
answers.
really the long and short of it. I mean, Advocaat's going to go for the triple battering ram to go back in.
He's got it, though.
Considering putting in one of the done banners just for maybe just a little bit of extra points.
I would go
just
for the
extra
Siege
points.
Master in case it backfires.
Because he's thinking about Shani doing the res, but we can see the answers here.
Okay, yeah, he has no Siege Masters. Never mind.
So he's Shani on the battering ram in this situation. Yes.
Blood alone can my maid's honor unbesmirch.
Shadow's going to be bringing out one of these. Yeah. Well, there you can see it. Basically, there's 4 left in the deck. Going to bring out the biggest one. 2 12s and an 11 remain. That's a lot of points because that Forktail's going to take care of one. A Barbagazi can take care of another one, which would be the Monster's Nest. Monster's Nest was already played, my mistake. The Mandrake would be coming out from Wispa's Tribute. I'm not sure what Gels. Gels is looking at Brewis Ritual.
Mean they've not forgotten me.
I don't know if Adzikov can put it together here.
Yeah, I forgot the Althor. Yeah, I forgot he hadn't played
Yeah,
Taller yet.
Taller's there, and that's.
Oh man.
I mean, it's not nothing because he did now, like, even though he had to give JJ 15 points, he does get that crucial last card. But what JJ is able to do here with the shutdown plays of the Artifact Compression and the Mandrake.
Consume Tech working out against Hensel as well. Like, people missed out on the fact, like we all missed out on the fact that this Artifact Compression is also very good in this matchup. You can disrupt the Hensel. If you rely on Hensel for round 3 to win, this Artifact Compression...
Ooh, wow.
Wait, he's good for it now? Wait.
That is a big deal, I think.
Yeah, but he has such a lead though still.
All is not, I mean...
But him using it now is definitely a massive deal because he does have the ability to get the Hensel now. He cannot disrupt this Hensel. He's already played. Wait.
He will be able to get the Mandrake here, so he's going to be playing the Mandrake. But now it's going to force, because he still has the Adzikov strategically kept that battering ram in the graveyard for Shani to res. So Shani will be able to pull that battering ram out. Then Hensel will be able to pull all the battering rams out to join them. He will be able to get the crewman on the board here. But what JJ is able to do with the Forktail and with Brewis...
He has muzzle. He still has muzzle. He still has muzzle.
Naivety's a fool's blessing.
No. I freaked
no,
out.
he
freaked
muzzled
out.
early.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I freaked out. I was like,
he
okay,
muzzled
okay.
early in round
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
I believe, to
Ignore what I
grab
said.
one of those machines.
This Henselt is so powerful, but that
The fork-tail is also
is
so powerful.
devastating. JJ looking to take the title here. Gonna follow. I think now you definitely play the Siege Master. You try to set up that crazy Henselt. Oh man, it's so intense.
I mean, it's going to be.
He's 22 points
How
behind.
close is this going to be? I think I'm more interested in how close it's going to be. I think JJ has just a mountain of points. But,
Yeah, like
but
this fork is
Henselt,
ridiculous.
I mean, I'm going to get what I wanted to see. I'm going to get to see so many battering rams come out of Henselt here.
He doesn't have good targets for the battering rams too. Look at this fork. This is 1 billion points. 1 billion. This is ridiculous.
This is going to be a 13 and a 14.
Boom,
2 14s,
boom.
my mistake, because there were 2 12s left.
51 point
51
Henselt?
points.
Is that
I mean, he would have to get 6 battering rams to get 50
Oh,
points.
look at that lineup though. That's a lot. That's so much. Wait.
Let's just
How
watch
much
it
is
play
this?
out here.
How much is? I honestly have no idea.
If it's
How much
if
is
it's anything
this?
less than 6 battering rams, it's not enough. I don't believe it's enough. But there's not even maximum potential for the battering ram because the 1 strength units are the only thing that the battering rams can use to trigger the second proc.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
don't think it's there. Let's watch it play
Let's
out,
just
my
watch
friends.
it play out. I don't know.
Just watch the battering rams coat the board.
Oh my God! Wait. Oh,
What? Series.
Super JJ
We will there with
the
us, my friends.
victory.
Man, that was close.
I had like absolute silence there. I had no idea. Wow.
I was pretty sure
Oh.
that anything short of 6 battering rams wouldn't have been enough there because 50 points were required. I think 6 battering rams would have gotten pretty damn close there.
man.
But man, it's a little bit closer than I thought. I mean, I got what I wanted to see. I got to see just an insane amount of battering rams come out of Henselt. The Necker Warrior play and JJ's early, well, we say early, ultimately it doesn't matter, but being able to playing that artifact compression and not getting the battering ram, which allowed Adzikov to play Henselt, put JJ very, very close, but it wasn't enough. JJ's going to take it from Adzikov 3-1 in a really, really exciting finals. Every one of those games was close, Mogwai.
Yeah, every one of those games were outstanding, and we get to see the consume tech work in a lot of
worked.
different scenarios right there. And that Henselt in the end though was so threatening. Adzikov being able to fish for that last battering ram, and JJ playing that because oh man, that was crazy. It came down to the fact that those units were so buffed up that battering ram could get that extra value. Just outstanding performance by Super JJ. Congratulations to both players. We will be seeing them in the next challenger.
Absolutely.
And my man, what a finals, man. That was incredible.
JJ taking home $10,100 US.
Oh.
Going to be the crown champion of Gwent Open #3, joining Freddy Babes and Shaggy as a Gwent Open champion. Playing the denial game to great effect. JJ with his ticket to challenger and a nice prize pool as well. The birthday boy, Paul Burge, is standing by with our champion. Take it away, my friend.
All right, I'm here with the champion, Super JJ. Man, that was crazy. How do you feel?
I'm feeling really good, thanks.
Just that? You're so calm. You were very, very calm, calculated throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I first want to give some shout-outs. I think I want to thank the whole Grand Slam crew, like Alex, Jasper, and Marty. Also Miriam and Adrian for bringing cheer to my life. No, really. I think it's very important having good friends. Also to my mom, who's probably sitting in front of the PC now. And also to Metronos for probably being one of my best practice partners I ever had. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Nothing more to add except the fact that you're...
I also forgot complexity as a team, especially Surin, Fantasy, and Beef, and the owner Jason Lake. Thanks a lot for being the best team I could have ever joined.
That was very nice. We were just holding hands for a couple seconds, so Kappa Pride in the chat. And not last but not least, here's your ticket to Challenger.
Thanks.
All right, let's go back to the casting team and we'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching and see you later.